Hey guys, it's Saturday morning, kind of late, probably 10 o'clock. Oh, stupid Zoom. I guess what I'm going to work on today is I'm going to work on aligning the doors on the truck, and then I'm going to, I don't know, try and get those fenders on permanently if I get that far today. I'm going to open up the holes on the hinges a bit so that I can get a little bit more adjustment out of them. I really want the driver's door up a little bit higher than it is, and I'm right at the limit. So I'm going to try that, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've got the door tentatively aligned. It's not, bolts aren't tight, and I'm not at a stage where I'm considering it done. But I'll show you. You can see that the body lines here and down here are looking pretty good. The gaps aren't too bad except at the top, but I'll address that in a minute. Now what I did was, these bolts are loose right now, but well, they're just a little bit tighter and finger tight so that I can still move the door around. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to isolate the way that I do this. In other words, I'm using this set of bolts to set the left, right, up, down alignment of the door, and once I get that to a stage that I'm satisfied with, I'll use the other set of hinges to adjust the angle of the door in the frame, because right now you can see along that bottom there it's not too bad, but up here actually it's pretty close in here as well. I did do the alignment on these doors before I put them on. Maybe that's not too bad. Yeah, some of that might just be the fact that the door and the body aren't the same shape. But no, it's actually sticking out a little bit down here. So I might slightly tilt the door that way. That'll also get me a little bit better gap up here, because this is kind of tucked into the frame a bit. In any case, now how I got it to sit at that position there was I cut up a bunch of pipe insulation. I cut it into actually quarters, and I placed that on the bottom of the door jamb for the door to sit on, so it'll stay in approximately the right position, the right height. I'd heard of that trick before done with carpet. I think this is a little bit nicer way of doing it, because carpet can be kind of abrasive, and considering the fact that everything is all done, this stuff is comparatively soft in terms of doing that. So what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to tighten up my bolts in this direction here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just loosen these off just a bit, and I'm going to make sure that I just manually set a bit of preload on these hinges, so that I'm actually twisting them this way as oh boy, can't see my hand. Is this thing zoomed or something or what? No. Okay. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist the hinge as before I tighten the bolts, to give the door a bit of preload. Even though I put new pins and bushings in here, they still seem to have just enough play that the door droops a bit. So I'm going to, like I said, twist that hinge just a bit, give it a bit of preload so that it takes up that slack. Then I'll tighten up these bolts, and we'll go from there. Now I did wrap my wrench in tape so I don't nick up the edge of this door. It's all dirty from the old buffing stage there, and hasn't been cleaned up yet, but I don't really want to nick it, so I don't have to redo anything here. Anyways, I'm going to get to it. Okay, just to give you some idea what I meant by the pipe insulation, that's what it is. I just basically taped it down here. I had 2 rows initially, but I think it was actually causing me problems because it was binding up over here. And so I just, they were taped. Taped them at the front or closer edge there. And now I got the hassle of, because I can probably pull these out for the moment, put them back later. Like the door is okay, I'd say. I may not do anything about it. It's kind of one of those things. And I just have to see how I feel about this top cap, because it is very, very close up here. It maybe, see the problem is I can't move the door forward. This gap is a little bit larger up here, but this one is getting pretty tight. You know, like whatever it is, this is an original door and an original cab, obviously, since there's no reproduction cabs. But the doors really don't fit the cab very well, you know. I think what I probably should have done is I probably should have done some tweaking on this door. And what I should have done was, because there's a fairly reasonable gap up here at the front and not so much here, is probably I should have tried to shorten this a bit, but that's a lot of work. Yeah. Oof. You know, what I am actually doing is I'm trying to align the door based upon the door skin, and it may be that the door skin actually is sitting too low on the actual door itself, but you kind of don't have a lot of option there. Like the gaps are where they are. Anyways, well, I think I will try and just bring the top out just a bit towards me, and that'll increase that gap a bit, and I think that'll make me feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, it is clear, but it's not an eighth of an inch up in here. I'm still recovering from that stupid laser, well, not stupid, but I'm still recovering from a laser eye surgery, so it's kind of difficult for me to see tight end stuff. Let's just see what kind of gap we're talking about here. Yeah, it's not a lot of gap. That tie wrap is snagging right up in there. Actually, it's greater right there. It's just right up in there that's a bit of a problem. So, yeah. You know, strictly speaking, if you go by the gap at the top, the door really needs to twist that way, but the rest of it doesn't quite agree with it. You know, like this back edge really doesn't want to change, and if that doesn't change, even if I brought this edge up, all I do is I just tighten up that gap there and make that one probably no better. Well, we'll see what bringing the door outwards does for me here. It's a little bit harder to adjust the gaps on this one by virtue of the fact that that these bolts really aren't accessible unless the door is open. So I got to kind of adjust it, tighten them, and try again. I gotta check that out. That was always close down there. Let's check this out. Make sure that that's not going to be a problem. It all boils down to, yeah, it's very close down there. Oh, shit. Very close down there. Yes, I forgot that this piece wasn't here anymore, and that I haven't gotten my bumpers yet. So I'm just banging stuff around, chipping paint here. There, that's a little better. It doesn't quite let the door close all the way, but it keeps me from smashing the hell out of it. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna try and work this out for myself here. There's probably some easier solution than what I'm thinking of. Okay, so I just trying to put the core support on. Since I want to put this fender on now that I'm pretty satisfied that the door is where I want it, I want to put this fender on permanently. And before I could do that, the core support has to go back on. But I went and I put it on there, and I found that this fender was sitting way lower than the top of that core support there. So I went and I grabbed my level, and this is something to be obviously very attentive to, is obviously this part of the frame, to level it up, that side is low. If we come around to the front side, we'll see that the exact opposite is true, and that twist that I've got going here, this end is now low, is throwing off all of my alignment on all my panels here. So just something for you guys just to make sure of if you're having trouble getting your panels to align. Well, predictably, my brilliant speech on aligning your doors was all BS. It hasn't quite worked out as well as I would have liked. It's not horrible, but it's going to need some more work, which sucks. I'll show you. Okay, so here's the gap. The fender is as low as it'll go. It's kind of, the gap is being obscured by the tape, but it actually is a consistent gap. It's just a fairly wide gap compared to this back edge. So this door is going to have to move forward. Not to mention the fact that this body line isn't even close. I'm going to try and get it as even as I can, but isn't even close to matching up. It's probably about 1/4 of an inch lower here on the door, and there's no more room for the bolts on the fender to go down. They're down as low as they'll go, and as a result, I'll have to I am going to have to kind of crank the door up like that, and try and bring the front end up. The stink thing about that is that the bolts that I want to access to do that are just not handy to reach. I'll see if I can maybe get them from the back side here. I think I can get the bottom ones from the back side here, but those top ones are just about going to be impossible to get from any angle. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Okay, well, nonetheless, the fender is on there, but yeah, it's only 2 bolts holding it on. Okay, well, I'm going to have to resolve this. What do you do to your ear anyways? Okay, I think I'm knocking off for tonight. I got the doors aligned and the fenders are on more or less permanently. There's 1 bolt missing on the passenger fender. I'm not 100% happy with the way that the driver fender is aligning, and I don't think there's going to be anything I can do about it. This is down a bit here, and this is bulging out. It doesn't have the same contour as the rest of this, because this door matches, actually this door has more curve than the cab corner does. So anyways, but this, for some reason, this quarter panel really has a lot more curve to it, so I'm not sure what to make of that. You know, maybe the door, when I welded in the replacement door bottom, ended up being more straight than curved. But there's not much I can do about it. You know, I could probably bring the door out a bit, but I'm not sure. The gap is huge here, and it was, yeah, it's kind of, I kind of don't have a lot of options there. I could probably try again to move the door forward. I did have to enlarge a couple of holes just to get it, this body line to line up so that the fender could drop. So I had to enlarge this hole in the fender there, and I have to enlarge a hole for a bolt that goes right back here, and so that it could go a little bit further down. Now this one, I don't think I'm going to have to enlarge any of the holes in here, but the hole that goes in behind here, I can't even feel it. Well, this has got to come up a bit and over. I haven't quite tightened all the bolts down, but nonetheless, it's got to kind of come up. But that is going to need enlarging as well. This door isn't too bad, but you know, once again, the contour of the door doesn't exactly match the contour of the cab corner. Little better alignment here. You know, it's slightly off, but this isn't tightened at the top, so that'll suck that fender in a bit more, so I think that'll take it to where I want it. So anyways, I have had enough for today. I bet this is a really long video because this segment alone is only, or is 2 minutes and 47 seconds. So I'm going to knock off and go and make some chicken fried steak. Later, guys.